Good morning, everybody. Today is a special day. Today, I present, for the first time, a fully jointed Iron Man suit that is made out of metal. This suit will have me entirely covered on all parts of my body in metal. I will be completely encased in metal. I will be bolted into it with bolts. I would have almost full range of motion in this thing. Think about what that means for a second. I will be in a suit that entirely uncovers me in metal. That from one part of the body to any other part of the body, there is metal touching metal the entire way. And in between all the metal is metal mechanical joints that are completely rigid. I will be able to get into this thing, bolt into it, bolt into it, put it on, walk around with almost full range of motion. And today I'm gonna show you how it's gonna work. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the exoskeleton, I'm gonna show you where one human joint will be, show you the exoskeleton joints needed to make up that human joint, and then I'm gonna show you on me the range of motion it would give me wearing the suit. This is the full body suit. How fucking awesome does this thing look? Look at it. It's crazy. Like I said, I will be completely covered in metal. And when the suit is finished, this skin on the outside of it will be all over all of it. This, like I said, is just the framing. This is just the frame, and this stuff is going to be water jet cut out, and I'm going to weld it together with a TIG welder. It's going to be made out of aluminum. And then sheet aluminum is going to be hand cold forged to put over the suit, and I will be completely covered in metal. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start showing you the joints and how I will actually move in this thing. And it'll be animated in here, and then I will show you the degree of freedom it's going to give me on my actual body. So we're going to start with the head. This right here in the back is all the joints of the head. Here is all the framing that comes around and covers the head. The top part is actually going to slide off for the skin, but let's talk about how it's actually going to move. And keep in mind, as we go through this, there will be attached on the inside layer of the suit. There's 2 layers of the suit, by the way. I should explain that really quick. Everywhere you see 2 joints, there's 2 layers, and that allows for a cavity in between the inner layer and the outer layer in order to run all the actuators and all the electronics and store pretty much everything in the suit that isn't going to be stored externally on the suit. All of that will run in between, and the main thing for that is for the actuators that's actually going to move and power the suit. That's to fit in that cavity. That's the most important thing to go in there. To start with, this joint right here allows you to tilt your head forward and back like that. Boom, boom, just like that. And that joint also has, there's one there, there's one there, there's one there, there's one there. So this single degree of freedom right here has 4 solid joints going through there. Forward and back, just like that. The next one is going to be this one right here, these 2 right here, and then if we flip around to the front, there's another small one that slides in a different type of joint. This is called a sliding joint. These are called hinge joints, like that. So if I take this and I turn it like that, you'll see tilting side to side. And if you look right here, right there, you'll see that it is sliding in that thing because it is spinning around a point that's higher than that, and the degree of freedom there does not need to be very high. Here it is on the back, and this one, because you can be more bulky in the back of the suit without limiting your range of motion, is a lot bulkier and stronger joints. The one in the front is just to add a little bit of reinforcement. The next joint down is this sliding joint, is the same type of sliding joint as in front, and there's another small one in front. So you're looking at this part moving inside of this part right here. And this allows you to look side to side, just like that. So now you can turn your head, nod your head yes or no, and go side to side like that. And then lastly, there's two more joints right here allowing you to lean your head forward and backwards. So this goes forward, this goes backwards, like that. So now you have two of these to add extra movement. Because naturally, the more joints you have on it, the more organic it's going to move around you, because the way your spine actually moves, it moves on like 7 different cervical joints. So this one is only moving on 2, an atlas joint and C2. What these joints do is going to allow you to have those 2 on the side, or going to allow you to go pretty far forward and pretty far down. When they both move together, they'll both move around and I'll get more of an arc through my body. Those slider joints in there are going to allow me to go like this. And I'm going to be able to turn my head very well, and I'll be able to swivel and turn my head and look side to side. And then the joints and the 2 on the back that are lined up, and then that little small one right there that moves in front, those allow me to tilt the head. Now there's a lot of mass on the side of the suit, so I'm only going to be able to go about 5.5 degrees either side. So it'll be very slight. The suit will limit mobility a little bit, but it'll limit mobility, but I'll have a lot of the same, essentially all the same degrees of freedom of that I will as an actual human. So it'll fit me like a glove. And what you'll notice the more we look at these is all of these joints line up at one point in the center of the body. And that's how your body actually moves, and that's why this exoskeleton is so different than any exoskeleton ever made before, is because all the joints are moving around the center of my body, not on the outside like you've seen with some exoskeletons before. Those things change size relative to you as you move around. So if you had one on your arm and it came down the outside, as you lifted your arm, it would get faster than your arm does, and it would stick out. So they have to compensate by bending and going like this. My suit will not have to do that. The other thing that allows me to do is completely encase myself in the metal. That's something that's not possible with other designs of exoskeletons. Now we're going to move down the body. This is the torso right here. This torso comes around like this, and then it comes up to the neck right here. So there's struts connecting from here and here, and there's 2 layers. Remember, there's 2 layers to everything. So there's a deep and a superficial back plate and front plate right here. So this joint comes down and around, and then it's going to come down, and so this is all going to be a solid unit and attach here into the lumbar. So the first joint is going to be this joint right here, and you'll see there's a very similar one right here. And it's actually 4 joints. This joint, this joint, this joint, and this joint. So there's 2 on the other side as well. So here are the 2 right on the other side right here, and then as I move this, you'll see that I'm able to lean forward and lean back like this. So this motion allows for leaning back like this, and you can see the head is moving out. You can see the head is moving out past the body, and then it will lean forward like this and stop around about there. And then there will be another joint right here that allows it to go the other way like this. And so these 2 will add together and add for more rotation down like this. So you can see how the body is now moved past the scan of me, and now you can see how I'm leaning down. The next joints are these sliding joints in here. There are 2 on the back, and there's 2 of them now, but this will likely not be how it will be built on the final version, which I will explain in a moment. But these 2 are also supported on the back, and they are all swiveling around a single point in the middle of my body, nearly the same point as these 2 right here, and they all line up with my spine. And so you'll see that as I drive this joint, I will turn around like this. And as I come the other way, you will see that I am turning the other way as I come around. And now you will see that as I take the other joint and slide it around, it will allow for motion the other way to continue. And now you can see how I've turned all the way over. The last joint is this joint, the one right behind it that's hiding, and then, or I should say the last degree of freedom, and these are the joints, and this one, and this one. So there's 4 of them. They equal 1 degree of freedom, which is this motion right here, and will be leaning side to side, like that. These joints all add up to full range of motion like this. through the lumbar, and also the ability to twist back and forth. Now we will go down the leg. Here we are at the back of the leg, and you will see that as I go in and out, these joints move around this degree of freedom right here. And this allows for the leg to come in and out. So the leg is moving in and out this way, and up and down over here, and this is the range of motion. And then on the front as well, you will see, as I just removed the cover, that the joint also slides in with a hinged or with a sliding joint on the inside as well. This is the same thing that has been done in other parts of the suit, and it is also done in the shoulder girdle as well. This adds extra support at the front of the suit. And then there are two large, very large hinge joints in the back that will add the main structure behind it. Then we will move to the side of the body and look at this joint right here. And there is another one on the inside, on the deep. And then obviously the same thing is happening on the other side of the body. And as these joints move, they will lift the leg backwards, like this, and forward. And the same will be done on the other side of the suit. Just like this, backwards and forwards. And here, there are two more sliding joints that are stacked on top of each other. And these slide in and out and allow for internal and external rotation of the hip joint. Here you'll see I slide that one, and as I slide that one into the same position, it turns the leg out past my foot like this. Here, I have the ability to, from the first joint we looked at, to go side to side like this, and then the one on the side of the leg up and down like this, and the last one internally and externally rotate the leg. And these all together allow for full sweeping motion of this hip joint right here, the one deep inside your hip. This allows for motion like this as well as going like this. Full range of motion. Now the knee joint. These three joints right here, this joint, and this joint, give this range of motion, which allow you to bend your knee. Bend your knee like so. So this allows you to bend your knee. This next joint, which is a new type of joint that we haven't looked at yet, is called a ring joint. It is a ring completely inside of another ring, so it's like a hinge joint, but it's hollow on the inside so you can go through it. This joint allows you to do a similar motion to the foot, like this. But because of this lock and key mechanism right here, as this is straight, it will be locked against this, like that, and will not be able to move. And then as your knee bends, these two pieces right here will separate. They will separate like this. And that will allow this to rotate on this ring and to rotate free of the upper body. This is how your leg actually works. These allow you to bend your knee like this, and if your knee is bent, you get this degree of freedom. And then if you want to try this yourself, you'll see that you can't actually do this. But when you lock your knee out, you can still move your foot like that, but the motion comes from up here in your hip. And this is just how your biology works for some reason. When your leg is straight, you lose a degree of freedom in your knee, and then when you bend your leg, you gain a degree of freedom in your knee. And that is what my suit does. Now we will look at the foot, the ankle joint. The first degree of freedom is right here, and it is on two sliding joints that come down from the shank of the leg and slide here and here. And you will see that it allows you to tilt your foot side to side, which is also called pronation and supination. Then you'll get this degree of freedom with a joint here and a joint here. These allow you to point and flex your foot like this, which is also called dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. Lastly, there are joints on each side of the foot for the toes to move. They move up independently of each other to give a more dynamic range of motion to the foot. Like this. These will look like this. You'll be able to take your foot and go side to side like this, point your toes like this and like that, and then move your toes around on either side of your foot. Next, we will be looking at this joint right here, coming off from the torso to the arm. This is called the shoulder girdle, and it is the joint we're looking at is centered right here, and it is your sternoclavicular joint. The first degree of freedom of this joint is this joint right here, and it allows you to bring your arm up and down with your shoulder girdle. There is one joint here, one joint here. If we remove the cover again, we will be able to see that joint right here, and then again, as before, there's a small one on the inside for each of the arms, a sliding joint here and a sliding joint here. They look like wishbones. The next joint, the next degree of freedom, I still have the covers turned off, is right here, and it is on a plane opposite of that. And it is these joints in here on the front and these compressed, stacked joints in the back. There is just one here, and then there's a deep and superficial one here, and then there's also top and bottom one. As we take these and drive the joint, you will see it slide open and slide in here, sliding in both the front and the back, and pushing the arm forward like this, allowing you to reach forward, if you will. These slide open like an accordion in the back. They are completely open right now. That was the first one. That was the first degree of freedom. Or they are the same degree of freedom, but that's the first one sliding open. And then the second one sliding open looks like this and brings the arm even more forward, like that. So these two would be completely slid open at this, like this. And here they are back, folded to neutral. And then if we take that and pull it back like this, they also have the ability to slide backwards, though right now my computer is struggling to make that joint work because this is a very complicated file. This allows you to bring your shoulder up and down via that first joint that was on the back, and then the small one that hooks on either side underneath, and then to come forward and backwards via the ones that uncompress from the back in two separate layers of joints, and then the single one on the front that slides right here. Those joints will allow for this in like this kind of motion with your arm. It is the movement of the shoulder girdle via the sternoclavicular joint. Next, we will be looking at the joints of the shoulder. These two are the first ones we're looking at, in addition to this sliding joint right here. As I move this, you will see that the arm comes down. So this is bringing your arm down like this and comes up. This allows you to bring your arm up and down like this. The next shoulder joint degree of freedom is this right in here, and there's two joints on this one, here and here. And these oppose the other joint we just looked at 90 degrees, and normally would allow you to move your arm like this, but because the arm is up, it is moving in this plane. And lastly, just like before with the leg, there are two sliding joints, two on the outside and one on the inside. 1, 2, 3, and then two layers of those like that to allow for internal and external rotation of the arm. As I drive the joint, you will see that it internally rotates the arm like so, and if I drive the other one as well, if you watch the hand, you'll see that it is pointing down. This one moves further and it allows for even more rotation of the arm, getting your hand almost 180 degrees. These allow for up and down motion, in and out motion, and then internal and external rotation of your arm. So this allows for all of this kind of wonky stuff like this. And then combined with your shoulder, you get full on, the shoulder girdle, you get full on motion in any way you can imagine with that until you actually hit the suit again, and that stops you. That's the limiting factor on the range of motion, is the bulk of the suit and not how the joints actually move. Now we will look at the elbow joint and the pronation supination joint of the hand. The first one is this joint over here on this side, this joint right here, and this joint right here. Give this degree of freedom. That's 3 joints running right through and allows you to bend your arm. Flexion and extension of the arm, just like this. Next, there'll be another ring joint in here as there was before on the shank of the leg. And here you'll see pronation and supination of the hand, just like that. This allows you to go like this and to go like this with your hand. And lastly, and probably most epic, is the hand. There are 2 joints here and here, here and here that have 2 ranges of motion inside of the wrist, which is how your wrist actually works. Two separate degrees of freedom as your carpals move around in your hand. And they are like this here, like that, and they are like this sliding motion right in here that you see right here, and they allow you to bend your wrist up and down. Then they spin and come to this single joint right here. This joint allows you to take your hand back and forth like this. This comes to the flat part of the hand, and if you'll notice, there's a very small joint right here, and it adds just a little bit of opposition of the pinky like this, and allows this plate to flex with the back of the hand. And then this back of the hand piece gives rise to these slider joints that rotate around the first joints of the finger. And this allows you to bend the finger down like this. So this motion of all the finger joints like that. And then for probably the most complicated part of the suit to build, not to understand, are these parts in here where these grooves will be cut in with the lathe that is outside, and then these will pop over each other, and there'll be a joint on the inside and on the outside. As you can see, there's one there and there is one there, and these joints right here will allow you to curl your fingers. There is one curling right there, and here is the other one curling just like that. These holes will support Kevlar that will run in between, that'll still allow you to have tactile sensation as you grip, but metal around to give you an iron grip from the actuators that will be inside. This same finger system that is now curled in here will also be applied to the thumb and the rest of the fingers that you can't tell, right? That aren't done right now, because this suit is not going to be the one I end up building, but will be the one that was as a test bed, and this is the first one that is fully jointed. That will also come off the thumb, and then there's another degree in freedom of here giving full motion of the thumb. All of these joints together give you full range of motion of your hand, opposition of not only the thumb across to the pinky, but the pinky down to the thumb. All joints on both sides of each joint here, they'll be small enough to actually get your fingers at least this close together. The thumb will also be done in a similar way. The hand is the most jointed part of this body and will be fully jointed, like nothing you've ever seen before. Today's video has been the culmination of 105 days of work. I said on day 3 of this vlog that I would build the Mark I. It has taken me 105 days, today is day 107, that of me vlogging every single day to figure out what I just did. This is the first suit that is going to be fully jointed like this. Nothing like this has ever been made or even attempted before ever, I believe. There is other companies and other people that have built exoskeletons, but they are much bulkier and they do not rotate all around the center point of your body. None of them really do that. No one else has this theory and is building this thing the way that I am doing it right now. What's amazing about this suit is that it will be able to handle tremendous loads with you cozy inside of it. It would be able to get hit and the joints can lock up and stop. It can also handle tremendous force on the inside from the actuators that because of the double system. That's the point of doing this. I have built and designed an artificial muscle that's a type of hydraulic actuator. I have a full video on it called about exomuscles. Search that if you're interested. But those actuators produce the highest force of any actuator ever made. They produce, the 1-inch size ones that weigh less than a pound produce 5 tons of force. 8 of them can lift a fully loaded semi-truck off the ground. And these are going to be inside the suit powering it. This is what I'm building. This is crazy. This is an actual Iron Man suit. And that is my mission, to become Iron Man. If you are seeing this, please subscribe. It would really help me out and I would really appreciate it. The rest of you, I love all you guys, all you people that have been here and been watching this for so long and are subscribed. I love you all. You guys are great. See, now what I have to figure out is how I'm going to get all the actuators to anchor and fit inside the suit. This is the next thing. I have to figure out how they're all going to connect and how I'm going to get the suit on with them on there. And then once I get them in there, I'm going to put all the anchors in there and then set them in there. And then I have to put the skin over it. so that I have all the material there I'm actually going to have. And then I have to do force testing to make sure it can withstand the high loads of my actuators on there. It doesn't shear the metal apart or bend something or break something. Make sure it's structurally sound. That is the next step for what I'm doing.